Hey guys, TJ here, and today we're going to be talking about Black Panther. This is an African version of Thor mixed with Rocky 3. Black Panther is the newest film in the MCU, directed by Ryan Coogler. It's the 18th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm glad to say that it's one of the most unique and well-acted ones out of the entire bunch. It took them 10 years from the beginning of the MCU to get this character finally on screen, and I'm glad to say that it's been worth the wait. This movie feels like it's a standalone film, like you don't really need to see all the other Marvel films that came before it to understand what goes on in this one. If anything, it almost doesn't feel just like a superhero film. Like if I didn't know that this was part of Marvel Comics and Marvel lore, I would kind of think that this is just a really cool sci-fi film. I would say it's more of like a almost Shakespearean struggle to hold on to his throne, which is really what this film is about. This film breaks from the Marvel formula more than most others in the series. Like it actually feels like it's its own thing. The performances in this film were some of the best in the MCU, and those great performances have a lot to do with the cast of this film. Like the casting in this film is ridiculous. Like just look up the cast on IMDb. Almost too many names to list. But okay, here we go. We got Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Danai Gurira, Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, Letitia Wright, Andy Serkis, Sterling K. Brown, Angela Bassett, and we got Whitaker. Like there are so many Oscar-nominated and Oscar-winning people in this film that it's just like you would never expect this from a superhero film. Wait for Black Panther 2 when Denzel shows up. I'm waiting. That would be cool. And one thing that this film does very well that just makes it an essential film in the MCU is the fact that it tackles themes that you don't necessarily think you're going to get in other Marvel films. So you have Wakanda, who has this amazing technology, and if you refuse to help the outside world and all the other suffering going on, doesn't that just make you kind of bad? You know, T'Challa has to figure this out as ruler, what it means to be a good ruler and what he has to do as the leader of this nation. The villain in this film is one of the best in the MCU. I'm not talking like the Dark Knight Joker level villain, but we are talking about a very well done villain for the MCU and just like superhero films in general. Every time Killmonger is on screen, he just has like a line or two that you are like, yeah, that makes sense throughout the film. And actually, I wish that he was in the film a little bit more. I mean, I know they had a lot to juggle. They were just introducing an entire new world and culture to us. I just wish that Killmonger was in the film a little bit more. I don't think anyone's going to leave this film thinking, oh, Black Panther was the star of the show. That's not to say that Black Panther wasn't like a great performance. One, T'Challa is more of the straight man of the MCU. Out of everybody else in the MCU, he is less likely to be the one cracking jokes all the time. Because he is a king, so he does have to present himself in this certain light, and that carries through most of his performance. Danai Gurira and Lupita Nyong'o are great additions to this Marvel universe of characters, and while they might not be like the main character of the film, they also do a great job in, you know, essentially expanding the role of this Wakandan family of sorts. Not blood family, but you know, you get what I mean. Where this film doesn't succeed as well is where it starts to feel more like a Marvel film. It's in those parts where it becomes more Marvel formula-esque that it just doesn't work as well. There are points in this film like you can clearly tell Marvel put their foot down. It says you have to include this. We need to go to this location so we can get an international market. We need to do this, put these jokes in, make these few references, things like that. But you can really still feel like this is like a Ryan Coogler film. The problem with some Marvel films is the fact that jokes can kind of undercut the dramatic points of the film. That never happens in this film that I could tell. And I feel like at any point that this film doesn't take place in Wakanda, it kind of loses a bit of its steam just because it's this area that we are exploring throughout the film, but when you leave that space, kind of just, you want them to go back. Pretty impressive selection of action scenes throughout that I thought really did a great job in showing just the amazing fighting skills of some of the characters in this film. While the fight sequences are fun, there were actually a few that I had a hard time telling what was going on. It was just, okay, there were two in particular that were really dark. The two Russo brother films that have come out so far are the best action in the entire MCU, and while there are a lot of cool scenes in this film, especially one really cool long take shot, certain sequence in particular just felt like the CGI, it made it feel a little bit unbelievable. But I really, throughout the film, wasn't really paying attention to the small bits of CGI mess-ups in the film because it wasn't really at the focus of the plot. And before I go, I need to touch on the score slash soundtrack that is featured in this film. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but I actually think that it really works to this film's benefit. Like, I didn't think that it would gel so well. It's just this percussion throughout the entire score in this film that you just like, you hear it and you're just instantly like, all right, I'm in Wakanda. These last 3 films before Infinity War seem crazy. They had Spider-Man in the MCU, you had Thor Ragnarok, and then you have Black Panther. This is something I didn't think would really happen in Marvel, especially when this all started with Iron Man, but I'm glad to say that the future of the MCU looks bright, and I'm very excited for what comes next. We've been waiting for this one for a long time, and I'm glad to say that you should definitely go see Black Panther in theaters. Well, that's all I got today, guys. I hope you liked the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe right there if you want to see more, and I'll see you on the next one.